I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.
We're back in another episode of Coach's Corner. I have one of the elder statesmen in the state of boxing here, sort of like myself. And, you know, there are people that move in the circle of boxing, and he is not out on social media like some of these other trainers and everything, but he has been around and, you know, put his time in the sport, has worked with top fighters. I have Paul Cichon from Manchester ROCS. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on here today. Paul is the current trainer of Michael Williams and Stevie Coleman.
Yep.
Former trainer of Matt Remillard.
Yep.
How many championships did Matt have? I know 2, right? Or more than that?
Nationals? I think
No,
he won.
professional. Well, Matt, you had him.
He won the WBC silver, WBC gold,
Yep.
NABF. He's got quite a few.
Yeah.
When you come into our gym, all his belts are right there.
Right there, yeah. So Paul knows his way around boxing, runs a great program up there in Manchester. Has always been very good to us as far as with his fighters and sparring, and his whole team up there, Hector and everybody. Don't want to miss anybody. Is just a great team, beautiful gym. So we wanted to have Paul in. We've had Mikey, we've had Stevie. So obviously, you know what? You're the guy that put them together. So I know you from the gym. You know, I know you've been around the sport. And as we talk with everybody else, boxing kind of finds us.
Definitely.
How did it find you?
Years ago, growing up in Holyoke, my older brother Pete took me to the Golden Gloves, and I fell in love with it. And as I got older, I always had a heavy bag hanging and everything, and I just worked out, and I just loved it, and I just kept doing it.
Yeah. So you started in Mass.
Yeah, Holyoke, Mass.
Okay. As an amateur, did you?
Honestly, I never fought.
You fall in the same realm as me, Paul. I have 3 amateur fights, and you know what? And
I had 2.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me, did you box? And I said, yeah, very badly.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we're going to get to that for a minute, because that is, you know, I've heard that stigmatism where people say, well, you can't coach if you didn't box.
Absolutely. I've heard that. I've been accused of that, but I've got like 13, 14 national amateur champions. I brought Matt Remillard up from 13 years old as an amateur to ranked number 2 in the world by the WBC. I've had Michael Williams since he was 7.5. Now he's ranked number 2. I'm number 10 in the WBO, number 11 in the WBA. So yeah, even if you haven't boxed, you can still succeed.
But two top trainers that come to mind, you know, Customato never boxed.
Right.
And Muhammad Ali's trainer never boxed.
Angelo Dundee.
Angelo
correct.
Dundee never boxed.
Never boxed.
You know, that's boxing history right there.
Yeah. I laugh when people go, oh, if you never box, you really can't train.
No.
Bullshit.
I kind of like, I'm with you. And me, and I know your pedigree is good. I was blessed to be around a lot of top people,
Yep.
be in camps with people and learn. I did my internship
Absolutely.
like you know. I mean,
Yep.
Nobody put me in a corner the first day in a gym. You know, I carried buckets. I did
Yep.
whatever was asked by the other trainers at that point till I earned my stripes.
Absolutely.
So, but you're deep with your fighters. So let's start with Matt and Micon, and now you have Stevie Coleman, who's come to you as a little older. But those two, Matt and Mikey, you've had from young kids. You've cultivated them from amateurs into the pros.
Yep.
Did you see that vision with both of them at a young age, or was it always a work in progress?
I saw it more with Mikey than I did Matt. Matt worked probably the hardest. He was probably the hardest worker I've had that I've ever trained.
Tough kid. I remember watching him fight.
Yeah. He could
tough
fight.
Kid.
He can fight. When he first came to me, he was sent to me, and he was supposed to do community service. And he came in. I'll never forget it.
They never send them to the football team. They
Right.
always send them to the boxing gym, right?
He came in and he says, "Yeah, I'm here to do my community service. I'm here to box." And I looked at him. I says, "You're not going to box. What you're going to do is you're going to wash the bathroom and you're going to wash all the mirrors."
Yeah.
And I had him doing that for like a week. And he kept coming in, "I want to box. I want to box." When he finally said, "Please," I said, "Okay."
Right.
And I had him sparring with Joey Wilson, Miguel. And he wasn't great. He wasn't bad. He was an athlete. But he worked, Dave, he worked so hard, and he became unbelievable.
Yeah.
And when he turned pro, I was advised not to turn him pro, but I did it. And he did very well. He did very, very well.
How long was his amateur career before you decided to make a move with him?
He won 2 under-19 national titles. I think he won the Ohio State Fair. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think he did. He had a decent record. I don't know it offhand, but he was ready because his style was made for pros. A lot of these amateurs, they come out and just throw punches. Matt always knew that he had to set you up. He had to walk you into something.
But do you think that's because that's the style that you train people?
Yes, definitely.
Your amateurs, even before you turned Mikey pro, when he was an amateur,
he had a
pro style.
Yeah, that's what I teach.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be an amateur forever.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? So
I agree.
I'm not going to tell you to go out there and just throw 100 punches.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to the same thing. I mean, look, no knock on amateur boxing. What good is having 100 fights that are not meaningful? And maybe, as opposed to having 10, 20, or 30 meaningful fights before you go pro.
Yeah.
What's to stay with that? But also, and I think what we're seeing, and, you can weigh in on this, in the amateur level, we're getting a lot of people who are, and God bless them because we need coaches, right? We need coaches.
Yeah.
We need gyms. We need people. But you're getting a lot of coaches that are not very experienced coaching in gyms.
Yeah.
I mean,
I see it.
Yeah, I mean,
Dave,
you got guys coming in, you've been around, and I'm not knocking
I
people.
see it. I was at a weigh-in one time, and there was a kid. He had to be maybe 10, 12, and he was at the scale, and he was wearing a plastic bag over his head. He had it cut out, and he was trying to sweat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why is this coach making a little kid sweat? He's 10 years old. Are you kidding me? Move him up and wait. You're not going to drain the little kid. That's stupid.
No, listen. There's a lot of things, and with the younger kids, we'll stay on that topic real quick. And I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're really getting a lot of young kids coming through your way, but with our open sparring lately, we have a good range of kids in the lower half of CT that range from 8 to 10 to 8 to 12 years old. Some are very good. Some are okay. But I just think a lot of it is parent-driven.
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of coaches who are their parents. And it's just I've watched a kid who's a very good fighter, and they're nice people. The dad is nice people. But that dad-son, and I see the kid's body language when the dad's talking to him as he's trying to coach him. And I know in his heart he's trying to help the kid. I get it. But
I understand that.
It's a disconnect, I think.
There's so many boxers out there where the father, unfortunately, I know the dad means well. I get it.
Yeah.
But he's hurting the kid. You don't have experience in this game. You never coached a kid, but yet you want to coach your son, and it's just not going to work.
Well,
it's not going to work.
Yeah, and I get.
I've got a kid in my gym. I had a kid, and his dad came in, nice guy, nice kid, but the father thought he knew everything, and he didn't. Yeah. And it just didn't work out, unfortunately. So who loses? The kid.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we've had an incident in our gym with a fighter that The dad was coaching the kid and wanted to spar with him, right? I said, listen, your son's not ready for that sparring.
Right.
No, he is. Okay. We told the fighter, said, look, go easy. He's a kid. Go easy with him, right? But meanwhile, now the father's escalating the sparring by trying to amp his kid up to go after. And I'm like, I said to the dad, I said, you're going to get your kid hurt here.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, he'll be okay. And the father had no background of it.
Right.
And, look, we teach our kids like you. We're not looking to hurt anybody by any means like that. So, like, listen, just let him know you're a little bit above him right now, that he's not on your level. Just let him know.
Don't hurt him.
Don't hurt him.
Embarrass him.
Yeah. But yes.
That's what we do.
And, I tried to explain to the dad afterwards. I said, look, it's great you want your kid to work with somebody who's better than him, but there's a way to do it.
Yeah.
And you don't do it like that in front of the whole gym, in front of a lot of people when eyes are on them.
Right. It doesn't work out well. It just doesn't.
No. Because, at the end of the day, nobody's going to get embarrassed. You as a coach, you're going to be like, okay, switch it now, and let's go.
Yeah.
Show them.
There's a coach, I won't mention his name here in the state. He's got a sign in his gym. No fathers. No fathers allowed.
Listen, the last 2 open sparrings we had, right? So everybody comes in. We've had pretty good turnout for the young kids, parents. I said, make sure you have a coach. We got to make sure you got your books, right? I make the announcement, parents, we don't want to hear you. Let that coach in that corner coach. Those are the only voices that we want to hear.
Yep.
You want to encourage your kid a little bit, that's fine, but we don't need you coaching. You're here to watch.
Yep.
And that's it, because it's a little nutty, but I'm not, back to you and back to the sense of amateurs, when you saw Matt and Micon, in your head, are you saying pro fighters? When did you switch it to training, or was the training always the same with them? Was the goal always the same?
The goal is always to turn them pro.
Right.
Okay. I'm not saying that I was going to turn them pro at 10 or 12 years old.
No, of course not. No.
When Matt turned open class and he was dominant, I knew his next level was really, really soon. Mm-hmm. And with Mikey had a pro style.
Yeah.
And when he turned open class for the gloves and everything, I knew the next step was just there. And that's what we did.
Yeah. So now, how did Manchester ROCS come about? And what is the whole background of your gym? I don't know the whole story about that.
I started out with PAL.
Okay, so PAL in Manchester?
I started out with them. I was there 16 years with a guy that started me off, Everett. Earl Everett started me off. And
the PAL programs were great.
Yeah, I was there 16 years. Then the gym flooded, and they didn't want to reopen the boxing. So I went to Bare Bones. I went to the San Juan Center. I went to Richardson Kickboxing. I went there. And then a friend of mine and I started Manchester ROCS. The friend had to leave for personal reasons. I stayed with it, and I've been there since 2011.
Now, your program is, walk me through it, as far as you guys are working with all level fighters up there?
All level. You come in, you sign up. Miguel or Hector or I will train you. Most likely it's Miguel and Hector. We won't start training you unless we know that you really want to do this. You ought to know. You get kids that, come in, everybody wants to box. Tyson said it the best. Everybody wants to box until they get punched in the face.
Correct.
These kids, they'll be hitting the bag and they're looking around to see who's watching them. Those are the kids that don't want to box. All right, so we bide our time. We wait. We watch them. Miguel will take them. Hector will take them. And we figure out who's who and who's going to stay and who's not. And we've never told anybody that they have to go. They just leave.
The one thing about boxing is people weed themselves out.
Yeah.
It's not Little League Baseball where they're hanging on. You know what I mean? They
you don't get cut.
No, you see, like you said, it's, I don't have to play you for 2 innings and give you one at bat. You know, they're going to weed themselves out.
Right.
Once either the training's going to be too hard, the commitment's too hard, or once they spar and they realize that this shit is real, then you determine what you have.
You can't play boxing.
No.
It's just, the quote, I used to say this all the time. It's easy to play football. I don't want to say easy, but it's different playing football and playing baseball. The quarterback's got the line to guide him, to guard him, make sure nobody hurts him. Baseball, they've got this guy, that guy. Boxing, you take that stool away, you're on your own.
Yeah,
it's you and him.
There's no in team sports.
You can't blame you can't blame the tight end. You can't blame the shortstop. You can't blame anybody but you.
And
that's very difficult.
You can't hide.
No.
A team sport, you could hide a little bit.
Absolutely.
You could take a little bit off, okay?
Yep.
Hey, baseball, if the pitcher's throwing his game, you may not got a ball hit to you all game.
Right.
In football, you could hide a little bit if they're not moving the play to you, if you're in a certain position. But once you go in that ring, like you said, all eyes are on you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All eyes are on you, and you're being judged not only by your peers, but by people who not necessarily know what the sport is about.
I like training fighters where I don't have to watch them 24/7. I know Stevie's running. I know Mikey's running. I always knew Matt was training. You get these guys that say, yeah, I was, running this morning. I was running. You'll know in the first round if they were really running. You know what I mean? So you can bullshit me all you want.
Yeah.
Once that bell rings, the bullshit's over.
Yeah, I guess. But you know what? And that's a great point, because I tell my fighters, it's what you do when no one's watching.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to be in this life, all right, it's not up to your trainer to wake you up at 5 o'clock on when you got to run, if you got a job, to get you ready. It's not up to your trainer to say, you know what? Don't eat 2 cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
If you got to cut weight. Don't drink alcohol in camp or whatever while you're training.
Yeah.
Or, make your decision. And I think today we have the ability where maybe years ago, like you said, fighters going to bullshit trainers. And and a trainer in the gym maybe had 5, 6 fighters. You don't have time to see if that guy's running.
Right.
Whatever. Today, dude, send me the app of where you ran.
Yeah. Yeah.
Send me your miles, send me your speed. I want to see it every day. And I want to see the time lock that it comes in.
Everything's monitored now.
Paul, I don't know. One thing, I'm a big analytical guy, and I wasn't until I started looking at team sports, other trainers, and what they were doing. So every camp, I start with a black book, and it starts day one, and everything is in there. So, with Giuseppe, I have 4 books of every fight of what we did from the day he started.
Yeah.
With Omar, it's the same thing. It's just we monitor. We use that. We use the apps that are running. If you're not with me, punch apps, performance apps in your gloves. I want to see how much you can punch, how fast, what's your ratio as you go up and down on a punch count. Because little triggers sometimes to give a fighter, and then you incorporate the old school stuff.
Yeah.
I think you got to balance it out a little bit. You can't be so top heavy with one. Information is good, but you got to have that experience in there to make the call while you're there.
Yeah. No, you are right. I don't use the apps as far as their training goes. I have guys with the counters to see how many jabs Mikey will throw or how many jabs Stevie will throw, how much is this and how much that. I'll go by that. The apps, to me, I'm old school. I don't really know much about computers.
Yeah.
I know 2 things. I don't know if I can. It's porn and boxing.
Yeah. Like the rest of us.
And that's
Listen,
about it.
I'm learning. This podcast thing has taught me into another world, But, one thing is work smarter, not harder. We have the clicker. Sometimes you got to get there and hold the clicker and be right next to the fighter and say, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you got to get in his ear. You got to motivate them there a little bit and let them know. I get all of that stuff, but the game out there is like these guys should not have an excuse today, as fighters because they have everything out there to their advantage, whereas past fighters
Didn't.
gym,
You're right.
equipment,
You're
and
right.
and one thing is you probably know, right? Your fighters got people around them that are helping them.
Yeah.
Friends,
Yeah.
family, whatever, a good friend or whatever, making sure, they eat right, they train, they're doing what they have to do. They're going to conditioning coaches. So you already know with strength and conditioning, if you're going to talk to the strength and conditioning coach, hey, what is he doing? Is he progressing? I need him to be here, or I need him to be there, or I need him on weight for this fight. Where are we at? What do I need to look at for him?
See, Mikey goes to Iron Will,
Right.
Iron Will Fitness. A girl, Carmen, excellent. She's been his strength conditioning coach since day one.
Yeah.
And she knows, I don't even call her. I don't ask her anything. I know when he comes in to see me and we train, I could tell he's getting stronger. I could tell he's getting
Right.
better. I could tell different things. I don't have to bother her.
No.
And she doesn't call me and go, hey, how's this? You gotta kind of trust. You gotta kind of trust your team.
You got to
know?
put your good point, Paul. Your team. Everybody stays in their lane.
Absolutely.
I'm with you.
Absolutely.
I'm not micromanaging the conditioning coach.
Absolutely.
The only thing I might say is, look, if I have a fighter that's making weight, that has to make weight, and he might be heavy going into camp, I need him to target to be on this
Yeah.
weight. So do we need a nutritionist? What do we need? But hey, we got to bring him in on that. I'm not
Right.
going to sit there and tell you what weight he should do, what he should. No. I'll handle the boxing.
Yeah,
You handle
absolutely.
that. And
Mikey will tell her, okay, we're fighting October 23rd is actually his fight. I have to be 140, and I don't even worry about it. I used to ask him constantly, "How's your weight? How's your weight?" And he'd either flip me off.
yeah,
he'd
but
tell me,
that's our thing, right? Tell me, Paul, you don't go into every gym and every trainer coming out of our generation. What's the first thing they say to a fighter?
"How's your weight?
How's your weight?
Yeah.
Did you
How's
run
your weight?
today?
Yeah.
How's your conditioning? They don't ask you if you lifted weights, what you
Yeah.
did. You all right? You running?
Yeah.
You running? Your weight's good? Okay, let's go to work. But it's like you said, when you get in that ring, you know.
Absolutely.
Because you know if he's lagging, you got to push him a little bit to bring him back up. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm not feeling your shot. Why? What's happening? Is it a technique thing? Is it a fatigue thing?
Yeah. No,
Then,
you're right.
then you make the adjustment. But back to you guys. You've been around those guys so long. You know what the heck they do when they're not doing it.
Absolutely.
It's a little different than some trainers, So your relationship with Matt, Mikey, and now eventually Stevie Coleman, these young men and women, you're there.
When I train them, I always say this: the bond has got to go beyond the ring. You know what I mean? Like I'll call Stevie almost every day.
Yes.
Or I'll text her almost every day. Mikey, the same way. I don't want to just see you at 4:00 or 5.
Yeah.
I want to see you. I want to hear from you during the day.
I think, you know what, that's another part about trainers that trainers really don't know, and coaches of any successful coach is involved with their people to some
Absolutely.
extent. And I'm not saying you're hanging around 24/7 with them.
No.
But you got to know something about your people. What makes those people tick?
Yep.
And, our sport, a little different because you're taking somebody to the ring. You're taking somebody. Listen, it's dangerous. Boxing is a dangerous sport. We don't know.
Absolutely.
We don't know what can happen in that.
You don't know if you're coming out.
That's exactly right. And at the end of the day, we want to prepare, and I know you do too. We're not preparing people to go into a fight to be unprepared.
Right.
I'm not going to have that on my head, and I know you're not.
I had a fighter I was very, very close to. I still am. And he had a couple of pro fights, good, bad. And then he started taking fights strictly for the money.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want nothing to do with it. I'm not going to take you out there, risk your life, and you're not even concerned about winning.
Right.
The only thing you're concerned about is the freaking check. So forget it. You find somebody else to train you, and you go. I'm not gonna be it. That's it.
But okay, I get that whole part, right? I get it. As a trainer, and a fighter comes to you, and I've been on that gambit where fighters say, look, I need the money.
Yep.
Okay. I know this is not a great fight for me. I need help. Your motivation as a trainer is, look, I'm training you to win,
Yeah.
not to survive.
Yep.
You know, I'm training you to win, so you got to have that same mindset as me. Because I'm with you. If I can't be a little bit of pregnant.
Right. I mean, to take the fight just for the money alone, I really don't want no part of that. I just don't. It's just not me. I don't like bringing guys who I know don't really care. Don't really care. I want to see you put 100% in as far as the training, the sparring, the running, everything else. Then I'll be happy to walk you out there. Not walking you out there half-assed.
No, because at the end of the day, you're putting 100% or more in. And that's what I think a lot of people don't realize. People see the trainers, they don't, it's a full-time gig. It's like you said. It's every day. If you're getting ready, you guys are getting ready for two. You have two kids. You have Stevie and Mikey getting ready to fight right now.
Yeah.
Okay? Having one person in camp is stressful enough, let alone preparing two people getting ready to fight, and it's a pretty close date. You know, Mikey's fighting the 26th.
No, 23rd. Stevie's 23rd. The first. The second.
The second, right? So, you know, you're going to one fight, coming back in. There's no time back in. Then you're going to fine-tune camp with Stevie to get ready. So, you know, you have to be totally cognizant of what's going on every day with your people.
Miguel Ayala, he helps me with Stevie, and he does a great job. He's got a little kid now. I think he's 13. This kid Cam, real good fighter.
Right.
Real good fighter. And Miguel's got quite a stable right now. He's got about 4 or 5 kids that are looking real sharp.
Yeah,
and
that's
he's
good.
been helping me with Stevie. I had Miguel when he was a kid.
Right.
And now he's just doing really well with us. You know?
Yeah, well, look, you have, you know, besides Miguel, you got yourself and Hector and anybody else. You know, obviously, Mikey and Stevie, when they're not fighting, I'm sure they're a big part of helping some of the kids in the gym.
Yes,
and
yes,
then,
they are,
look, you know, you got to figure, right, as a young kid, as an athlete, right, if you're playing ball and you have pros in front of you watching them train, that's got to be a motivation.
Oh, absolutely. Should be.
I mean, for me, it's like, you know what? If I can go to a gym and we know in a boxing gym who's going to be there, we don't know. We don't know who's going to be there that day, who's training, who's sparring, who might come in and just want to hit the bag. Man, if I'm sitting there next to a guy or a girl who's an up-and-coming fighter or a champion, man, that motivated me to train.
Yeah.
You know?
Right now, the best pro we have in our gym right now is Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
You know, you're looking at a 5-time world champion.
And you know, there's another thing. Like, you know, this goes to your whole – this is why I say your gym is just like that blue-collar gym that just gets up every day.
Yep.
We're here. We're doing our job. We're not flashy, okay? We're not.
I don't do classes. We don't have boxing classes.
But point being is, okay, you've had success with Matt, Mikey, Stevie. Eventually is going to be the writing on the wall with her is hopefully. You know, Katie Taylor coming into your gym, that says a lot about your reputation right there.
Well, I thank Ross for that. Katie's trainer. I've known Ross since back in the San Juan Center days.
Yeah.
He started training Katie.
Yeah.
And he asked me if he could train her at the gym. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And it's funny because I didn't know who she was.
She found him, right, online?
Yeah.
Is that the story?
Yeah.
Is that story correct?
Him. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she found Ross. Ross is he's an unbelievable athlete. He's an unbelievable trainer.
So back in that internet days when it was, you know, you weren't watching porn, Ross had his – so I would see his workouts come up. And
Ross training.
Yes. And he'd have his little videos and it'd be like, this guy's out of his friggin' head. But I liked what he did. I didn't know him, right? So I'd follow some of his stuff and, you know, flashback many years later, meeting him, and then he brought Katie down for sparring and everything else like that. He is, and I'll go back to the first fight with Serrano. Yeah. He changed that fight.
I'm going to tell you what, her managers came to my gym. It was after that.
Right.
And we were all sitting there, and the manager said to me about Katie, how she really did this and did that. And I said, you know what? I said, you really gotta praise Ross. And he says, really? Why? And I says, listen, a lesser trainer, even me, I might have stopped that fight. Remember Katie got real hurt.
Listen,
and I said
that fight was crazy.
I was saying to her manager, I says, Ross had the wherewithal to know his fighter. He knew that she could come back. I said, somebody like me or somebody else, 100 other guys might have stopped that.
Yeah, you can't.
He didn't.
You can't call. And you're right. So if you go back to that fight, and let's just stay with Ross for a minute, and the training aspect and being a good trainer and knowing your fighter, all those key points, right? Watching that fight on television, that fight was getting away from Katie.
Oh, yeah.
That fight was getting away from Katie. The fan base was turning towards Serrano. The momentum in that fight was switching. She was a little flat, and like you said, there was a lot of questions of should they stop the fight? Was the fight over? Was Serrano pulling away enough that Katie could not come back? I think it was the 5th round when Ross talked to her. It was either the 5th or the 6th round.
Yeah, probably, yep.
Right? And I watched that over and over again, and I've talked to people. I said, listen to what he said and how calm he was in the corner.
He's unbelievable.
With his instruction and what he said to her, he didn't waver. He didn't talk about being behind in this fight.
Yep.
He talked about what to do to go forward. And she flipped the switch, and I thought that was.
I had him with me and Matt for the last half of Matt's boxing. It's funny because when he's at the gym, Ross is he's not as outspoken.
He's a little standoffish.
Yes.
Is what you want to say. Yes.
Yes. And I always tell him, Ross, I don't think you're human. I think somebody built you in a basement.
Yeah.
Who could do these flies with the wheel? And who could do all this stuff?
Well, how about you look at some of his stuff, yo? Don't get mad, Ross.
Yeah.
Like some of his stuff training in the goddamn woods in the snow and shit that. I'm like,
he's an animal. He's an animal.
He's
a throwback.
Maybe he's the next CIA guy or somebody.
He's a great guy. He's funny. When you get to know Ross, like he was there last night for the sparring, and I like when he's there because he could tell Mikey different things than me, And I don't sit there and go, look, nobody else can talk. It's only me. One guy will talk at a time.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell Mikey something, and I'll go, okay, go ahead, Ross, or I'll go, go ahead, Hector, or Lex, or whoever. And I like what Ross is there because Ross has a lot of good things to say. He doesn't sit there and just go, well, maybe you should jab, or maybe you should, he knows what he wants to say.
Right. But he also, when you get a skilled eye like that, he's not with Mikey every day, so he's picking up stuff. Right?
Absolutely.
You guys, and not just you guys, but all of us trainers.
Yep.
And this goes back to having a team, right? Sometimes we're so deep in the forest we can't see the trees.
Right.
And we get that tunnel vision during training. And you know what? I like to have, like you said, one person always talking.
Absolutely.
Okay? But different eyes see different things sometimes.
Absolutely.
I mean,
100%.
I've been in a fight. It was an amateur fight with, Benny, and I was the head trainer for the kid. But the kid was reacting to Benny's voice that day in the fight.
Yep.
And I'm like, Benny, just take him home. Just what you're saying, let him hear you, because he's responding better at that point. You know what I mean? It's just, let's get to the end result. I don't care how we get there.
Yep.
I'm not going to let anybody just come in and talk. Like, listen, if you don't know what you're saying, just have a seat and, watch the sparring or watch the training. Don't offer no help here right now because you have one fight.
I like what Ross is there. I really do.
Yeah, he's done a great job.
Yes, he has.
What are your thoughts on that fight? While we're on and wait, before we even get there. Now, I got to see her spar, and you're talking about biggest name in women's boxing right now.
Absolutely.
Her and Serrano, 1-2. Okay, none. And she came in, sparred with 3 top amateurs that day. What a humble.
She's great.
Humble, and she worked with the girls, talked to the girls, but she put her work in. Her work ethic, from what I can see, is just, and you look at her, it's hard to fathom her, like, first impression that, you're this top level.
Yeah, no, she's so humble.
Fighter.
She just donated $12,000 worth of stuff to my gym.
Right.
I mean, we got new bags. She outfitted the whole gym.
That's awesome.
Outfitted the whole gym.
That's awesome.
She's an unbelievable person. She really is.
I mean, and that's another testament. It's just done humbly. No newspaper, no nothing, right? What's your take? You see her every day. What do you think in the Serrano fight?
I think, honestly, if she decides to go toe-to-toe, it'll be a much tougher fight. I think she can outbox Serrano a lot better than outpunch her. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
If she moves, if she boxes the way I've seen her box, and even in her fights, I've watched some of her fights, she boxes unbelievably. Her hand speed is incredible.
Yes.
Her footwork is amazing.
That's when we saw
If
her.
she stands toe-to-toe
It's going to be a bang out.
with Serrano, I'd give Serrano the edge. If she outboxes Serrano, which I know she can do, it's a no-brainer. Katie all day long. But she's got to make the fight easy. She's got to make it easy by outboxing her. Don't sit there and get into a slugfest with her. It's not worth it.
No. And I think, the pressure's on Serrano, I think. This time,
Absolutely.
after the first fight. She already knows for 5 rounds she gave Katie her best stuff.
And Katie stood there.
Didn't win the fight. It didn't win the fight. How do you think that plays in a fighter's head? Now you're training somebody. How do you offset that?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know how Serrano's trainer.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to tell her to offset that.
If it was you, what do you tell your fighter? If you're in that situation and you have the fighter and you're coming back on a rematch, what do you tell him? Are you being blunt and saying, look, you fought a hell of a fight, but it wasn't good enough?
I would be blunt. There's no question. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
I say it the way it is.
I agree.
And I would pressure my fighter to make it an uglier fight. Bully her around, push her around, hold her and push her. Do what you can to win this fight. Was Katie fading toward the end? I don't know. Only Ross knows that. She won the fight. I thought she won it clean. Was she hurt during the fight? Definitely. So I would get my fighter to go back and try to hurt her or try to hurt him. Try to get what you had and don't lose it this time.
Yeah, try to finish.
Yep.
One thing I think in this fight, I think logistics play a favorable part to Serrano, where it is in Texas. I think.
Well, it didn't help her out, and she's right from, Brooklyn.
Yeah, I know.
It didn't help her there.
It didn't help her there, but I think the Latino community there might be playing in her favor. Coming out of the Jake Paul promotion.
Jake Paul, she shouldn't even be the main event. Katie and Serrano should be the main bout.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Jake Paul
and honestly, I don't think that fight should be. That fight should be Vegas, New York. It shouldn't be there. Yeah. I'm sorry. On that card, that fight should stand alone on its own.
Absolutely.
That fight should not be. That's not an undercard 100%. For nobody to see. Because you want to know something? At the end of the day, where they positioned him on that card, they're going to get lost because true boxing fans are going to see if Tyson and Jake Paul can do something. Not true boxing fans. People who not true boxing fans are going to see that. Look, I saw that fight on television, and I say it not only to the female fighters, but that's one of the best fights I've seen in a long time.
She gave us tickets to that fight, and unfortunately I couldn't go. Miguel went. Some of the kids in the gym went down there. I wish I seen it, but
great. I mean, I'm excited to see. I think seeing her box, she definitely doesn't. When you see her in person till you see her in the ring, doesn't look like she can move and box like that. It just doesn't. It's like
it is funny.
I'm like saying, but she does. I agree with you. I think if she creates some angles, Serrano knows one way. She's just going to come at you. She's got to look for the spot, and I think if she lets Serrano come at her, I think she can catch her.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. She could catch her and move.
Yeah.
Don't catch her and stand there.
No.
And then start slugging with her. Catch her, move,
Yeah.
set it up again.
Yeah.
And she'll
Just
outbox her all day long.
Keep frustrating her because the more you frustrate Amanda, I think that it's going to make her a little more desperate
Absolutely.
to look for the shot.
It's always been said, the madder you get, the worse you're going to fight.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm looking forward to that. What were your thoughts on Joshua and Dubois last week?
I didn't see it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Joshua? Is it in because I've seen Daniel and I think he's hot right now and look, he fought a great fight. He commanded the whole fight, knocked Joshua down in the 5th round.
Yeah.
He just fought a great fight. I think he was bigger and stronger.
To me, the jury's still out with Joshua. I mean, he certainly looks good. He looks the part. But you wonder if his chin is there. I mean, he got hit by Andy Ruiz when he first lost his title.
Mm-hmm.
He was hurting Andy. Andy come back, he catched him or caught him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he just couldn't take it. And Andy kept catching him, and it was over.
Yeah.
I think his chin is kind of suspect.
Is it his chin or is it his heart? Because I hear
Could be both.
I hear everybody says the chin. Everybody says the chin.
But if it was his heart, Dave, do you think he would take these hard fights? Granted, he hasn't fought Fury yet. He hasn't fought
Fury.
Wilder.
I go back to the Klitschko fight. He was in a tough fight with Vladimir, and Vladimir was older.
Yeah.
And he hung in the fight with Vladimir there. So the chin part, I don't know. I mean, Vladimir hits pretty damn hard. He's pretty damn big, right? I don't know, Paul. I can't call it on that. We were talking before. You were talking about how some fighters fight
to their level.
level.
Yeah.
So if you saw his last fight, he destroyed Helenius.
Yeah.
Totally. And then one other fight before, just walked through his 2 opponents like it was nothing. So he shows signs. And I'm not taking anything away from Daniel
Wasn't
Dubois.
the guy previous to his last fight the guy from the guy that almost beat Fury? The hell was that? The big guy from the UFC or something?
Oh, you're talking about, yes. His last fight, he slept him in the first round. I know. Adesanya.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I'm not taking away from Dubois, but that fight just changed so fast in 5 rounds. It was like Joshua.
Maybe when he got hurt, his heart left?
Could be. But, I'd like to see him fight Fury. But,
I don't think you will.
Fury's a question mark. He's got to fight Usyk, and that fight, who knows if Fury's going to want to fight.
Yeah, Fury's getting older too.
Yeah. So, with you guys, back to your team, Mikey's set for the 23rd.
Yeah.
Who do you guys got? You're fighting locally. You're fighting in New York, right?
That's a tough subject.
I know. I know you.
We agreed to fight Mikel Lespierre, 25-3.
Oh, it changed.
Now it changed.
Okay.
Apparently, Lespierre, after the Algieri fight, had a detached retina, had surgery. Fought twice after the surgery. Now New York says no, so they gave us Levias Williams, who's 10-1. I don't like the fight. I want Mikey to fight better people. I want him to step up.
You guys are in that position.
Absolutely.
You've been talking about.
Last year, we were asked if we would accept the fight with Cruz.
Right.
I said definitely. Then we were asked if we would accept the fight with Rolly, and I said yes, definitely. Now we presented a fight with Tio.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we get this guy. I don't know. I want Mikey to go out, blow him out of the water, and then just go to the next one.
Yeah. I mean, it's time. He's there.
Oh, there's no question about it. And we're ready. We're ready. We went down to Florida. As a B-side fighter. We fought a guy 17-0. Mikey stopped him in the 6th round.
Yeah.
Do you believe Mikey dropped him twice in the 2nd round? 2 other questionable knockdowns in that fight. When he stopped him in the 6th round, I went back, looked at the scorecards. One of the judges had Mikey losing the fight.
Yeah.
How is that?
That's a whole nother topic, Paul.
How is that?
That's a whole nother topic, buddy.
I called Florida,
Yeah.
and I said, this is bullshit. And he goes, oh, maybe it was an error. I said, that's not an error. How the hell you have an error? You got 2 other guys having Mikey winning comfortably. This guy's got him losing the fight after he's dropped the guy twice.
And 2 other times questionable.
Yeah.
So that's really 4.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you have – and he stops him in the 6th round. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because who knows what would have happened?
Yeah, I mean, but you're not ducking anybody.
No.
You threw 3. Look, T.O. obviously would be a great fight.
I'd love to fight T.O.
I think that style
I think Mikey beats T.O. all day long.
That's a great style. I like the fight with Cruz.
Yep.
Romero, he's a little awkward. I don't know where he, I don't see Mikey having an issue with him, but he's
awkward, but I don't think he has the heart to keep up with somebody who's just outboxing him round after round and making him look foolish.
Well, I think if you guys fought Rolly and he goes to the corner, Mikey's just going to take his body all day long.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a wrap there.
Yeah.
So, talk about camp a little bit. How's that going? You don't have to divulge the whole.
No.
How
That's fine.
you guys preparing and with the change? Did the change come before camp or during camp?
During.
So now you got to adjust.
But we're fighting. Les Pierre was a southpaw,
right?
And the kid Levias Williams is also.
Okay, so you didn't have to make too big of an adjustment.
So we've been sparring with Cavante Wineglass.
Yeah.
Out of Waterbury.
Waterbury.
Great sparring. That kid's good. That kid's somebody to watch.
Yeah.
Like he's making his pro debut November 2nd.
Who's he trained with?
Mike Melendez, I want to say.
Okay.
Great sparring. The kid's tough. That kid can fight.
You fighting 8 or 10 rounds now.
It was a 10-rounder. Now they moved us to 8, but they didn't move the purse, which was good.
Yeah, well, at least Lou DiBella kept things.
Look, Lou's been good to us.
Listen, he's another guy who's been in boxing a long time.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. They've done right by Mikey. Sometimes I get frustrated. I'm sure every trainer does.
Listen,
but
that's part of the relationship,
my job is to look after my fighters.
Right. And
it's that simple.
And your fighter's coming every day into the gym, and if he's not getting 3 to 4 dates a year, he's antsy.
Right.
And you don't want him out there being antsy.
No.
So you want to kind of give him, okay, we got this fight, we go through that, we got the next
and
fight.
Dave, you ought to know, it's really hard to train when you don't have something scheduled.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? When you come in and you just want to work out and all that, that's great. That's great. I love training for something.
There's got to be.
You know what I mean?
There's got to be an end game to the means, always.
Yes.
And look, we all fall into it as trainers. You tell your fighter, look, stay in the gym, try to stay on weight. We get it. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. But with no fight on the horizon, there's no sense of you going to the gym, sparring 2-3 times a week. For what are we working on?
Mikey will come in when he wouldn't have a fight scheduled. Stevie's the same. When they don't have a fight scheduled, they're still there. They're still hitting the bags.
Yeah.
They're still doing pad work, not as often, and they spar maybe once per week instead of 2. They're still active, but they're not killing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just staying ready.
Because if you get the call, you got to step on the gas.
Absolutely.
And you got to say that. So, you've been blessed with Matt and Mikey.
Absolutely.
How did the relationship with Jackie Callan come about for you guys?
It's funny because Matt Remillard was sick of amateurs. We were out at the ringside tournament.
Yeah.
And we were sitting in the hotel, and he goes, "Paul, look, I just want to go pro." So I got
that'll do it to you out there in that ringside tournament after you get robbed a couple of times.
Yep, which he did. So I emailed Jackie, and I left her my phone number.
Now,
So
did you have?
I didn't know her.
You didn't know her.
I
At the
didn't know her
time.
at all.
And people, we're talking about Jackie Callan, female manager, managed James Toney movies after her.
Yeah.
You know, knows boxing in and out.
Yeah, just got put into the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
I don't know her from a hole in the wall, so I email her and I leave her my phone number.
Yeah, that's good. You got an email going there.
So we leave. We're gonna go get something to eat, and I made a joke. I said, "Hold on, Matt. Let me grab my phone in case Jackie calls." I didn't think she'd call.
Yeah.
We're walking to get something to eat, and she calls me. She goes, "Hey, I just got your email.
Right.
Who's this fighter? Blah blah blah. Can you send me a tape of
whatever.
them?"
Yeah.
And I did, and we flew her in, and next thing you know, she signed them.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how that happened.
So obviously that spilled over to Mikey when you made.
Yeah. Well, we put a dinner show on. ROCS did. We put a dinner show on, and a good friend of mine, Brad Darr, is a dentist. He's one of Mikey's backers. He backs my gym, everything. He's been with me since day one. Been with me all through the Matt era, everything. He flew Jackie in for us, and she saw Mikey fight on this amateur show. And she said to me, she goes, "When he turns 18, call me." I said, "You got it."
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah. I mean, and that goes for what we were talking about before, team. You know, in boxing, it's important to have a good team.
Absolutely.
And not only at the coaching level, but, you know, management and promotion. I don't think people realize how important it is that you have an established manager like Jackie Callan, who's been in the game. She can get to the right people, pick up the phone, make a call.
She's the one that got Mikey to fight in June. She knew Golden Boy,
Right.
And she made some calls. She was getting into the Hall of Fame. She made some calls. She wanted her fighter on that card up there. It was a Golden Boy show.
Yeah.
And she made it happen.
Yeah, and and things like that have to make sense sometimes too for promoters, Mikey's coming in from Connecticut, fighting in New York. She's going in the show. That's going to come back. So let's flip to Stevie Coleman for a second. We've had her on the show.
Yeah.
Got to see Stevie as an amateur. Thoughts on her? You're preparing for her fight. She's fighting November 2nd, and you got a busy schedule right now. She's fighting at Mohegan Sun on our CES card, Jimmy Birchfield.
Yeah. She hasn't fought a real fight in almost over a year. She went into the Combat League. She did very well there.
Yeah, I was talking to her about it.
Yeah, she did very well there. I think she was 5-2 with that.
Yeah.
She's 5-1 as a pro now. She's coming back. We were fighting a 6-rounder. Now we're fighting a 4. And camps could go in really, really well. She's sparring with my amateur Diego Funes, who's 168. This kid's sharp, and he really makes her work. It really helps her out a lot. She's on track.
What weight are you at for this fight with her?
47.
You fighting at 47?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think with the year layoff? What are you seeing?
Well, I say she hasn't fought in a year, but she did fight in the Combat League, which is nothing like a real fight. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think she's going to do very well. I think she's got a great future. I really do.
Yeah. Do you see her at 47 for the future?
No, I'd rather her go down. I'd rather go down to 40.
Yeah.
I'd rather see her.
She's
at 40.
a big 40.
Yeah, she is, and that's what you want. You want to be on the high side of your weight class.
Well, she's still young, and is definitely from when she first started. And I saw her in the amateurs. You could see the progression and through the size. And are you seeing more of a puncher in her now?
Oh, definitely. She can punch. Her jab is very, very strong.
Yeah, I always thought she had a very, even prior to working with you guys, she had a hard jab.
Absolutely.
What changes have you made to her when she came to you? Do you bring her in the style more like Mikey? Is that?
I want her counterpunching more. I've gotten her to do that. I've gotten her to move. Her last trainer did a decent job. I don't think they realized what they really had.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when she came over to me and I saw her, and she was hitting a bag, and I walked over and I says, can I tell you something? And she goes, yeah, please. And I started working with her, and then it just clicked.
Yeah.
But she always moved to her left, when she was jabbing.
Yeah.
I said, Stevie, you're walking into my, right hand.
Yeah.
Move, go the other way. And I made a couple different changes. I didn't have to change a lot. But I've noticed her getting a little older, a little more seasoned, that she's starting to pick up things on her own. Like she'll do something during the pad work that I didn't teach her, but she picked it up either watching Mikey, watching other fights. I don't know, but she's picked it up. She watches Katie Taylor.
Right.
She sparred with Katie. So, I mean, she's picking up. She's getting very smart.
She's getting that ring IQ.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's being around everybody. She had a tough pro bout debut.
I thought she won that.
Yeah.
I had it. Dave.
I thought that fight, she had that fight, but
I was sitting there watching it. I thought she won, and then I thought to myself, in the heat of the moment, I thought it was a draw. Okay? I go up in the ring, and I'm like, man, this is going to be a tough one. And the other girl's trainer came over to me, and he goes, that was a great fight, man. You guys got that. And I said, thanks, man. I really, I appreciate it. And then when they announce it, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Stevie beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, I thought it took Stevie past the first round to get loose a little bit.
Yeah.
She was a little, the bugs of a pro debut and everything.
Yeah.
I think the last 2 rounds, it was all Stevie.
The trainer came over to me after it was said.
And the second round, I think 3-1.
Yeah. Her trainer came over to me again after they said that they had won. And he apologized. He goes, man, sorry about that, man. You guys got that. I said, don't worry about it. In my thinking back, they both fought their hearts out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They both fought a hell of a fight. Why not a draw? If it's that close, why not a draw?
Yeah.
Let them both start out with a draw instead of a loss.
Yeah. And I mean, that takes us to the judging end of this game here. And I want to kind of get your thoughts on this because we see a lot of...
Are you sure?
Yeah, I am. I'm definitely sure because I have my thoughts and they're probably not much different than yours right now. But we're seeing a lot of lopsided judging here in fights. What do you attest that to?
I think
you're as trainers, we're right there watching the fight also.
Yes. But as trainers, we don't watch it the way judges do.
We're not scoring it objectively, right. But our vision is the same.
Absolutely. Knowledge may be better, too.
True.
I think, unfortunately, we have to have judges in the amateurs. I'll speak to that first. In the amateurs, they say it's a volunteer. They're not volunteering. They're getting gas money. They're getting a stipend. So stop with the volunteering. Okay. The only one in the amateurs that are volunteering are the coaches.
Right.
Back in the day, I used to run 2 or 3 shows a year, okay, when I had Pal. Everybody, Dave, was a volunteer. Everybody.
Yeah.
From the doctor, to every judge, every referee, everybody was volunteer.
Because there was no money to run the show.
Right. Now, the only ones that are volunteers are the coaches. So what they're getting now is boxing fans that are becoming judges. That's what's hurting us. That's what's hurting us. And as far as the pros go, a lot of these amateur judges / refs are starting to move into the pro
because of the lack of the feeder system.
Yes.
We don't. But here's
and you're getting fans becoming judges. I've got friends who are judges and they're well-seasoned judges who are really good. One of them is a very, very good friend of mine. And Mikey had a fight at Foxwoods. And this friend of mine judged it a draw. And I'm like, why? Why? What happened? He says, you know what? The reason that I gave this guy that round because Mikey took his foot off the gas. He didn't show me that he wanted to fight. To me, that was a seasoned judge.
okay.
That was a seasoned judge. I got another friend of mine who's a judge who came from the amateurs. He was judging a fight. One of the fighters, it was a 4-round fight. One of the fighters got a point deducted. Okay? Point deducted. This judge had him winning 40. I'm like, how? How can you have him judge? How? You got a point deducted.
Yeah.
How the hell is it 40?
Yeah. Yeah, what math school did you go to?
Yeah. That's what we're getting. I had the one judge that judged my fight a draw, tell me why.
Yep.
The other one had no
No
answer.
concept. Too.
No answer.
So, in other sports, Major League Baseball, NBA, NFL, there's training.
Mm-hmm.
To be an umpire in a Major League Baseball, you don't start at Major League Baseball.
Right.
You have to work your way up, and you have to go to a school to get certified. So there's other umpire. We need something like that in boxing.
Boxing doesn't have that.
And to go back to amateur sports where everybody is a volunteer, yes. But if today's day and age we're doing shows, look, those guys, judges, refs, they should get stipend and they should get fed. That should be part of doing business of your show. If you're doing a show, you need to take care of the judges, the referee, and anybody around that ring. And whatever. If they want to volunteer their service and you got a doctor that wants to come in because he's a boxing
Doctors
fan.
now are $350.
Yes. Yeah. Right off the rip.
To do a show, you got to rent the ring for $1,600, $1,500.
If you don't have your own, right? The hall.
And then, the hall. Probably
got
$1,000 or $1,500.
Pay USA Boxing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a money grab.
You got $4,000 in before the
Easy.
first bell rings.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Usually more because you know what? We're throwing our own money in that we don't
Yep.
even count out like that. My thought with this, and I'll throw this out to you, is I said this, and I don't know. This is my kind of crazy idea. If you watch tennis, right? Tennis is played like this, right? On a flat surface, right?
Yeah.
Where are the judges? Judges are up in a chair.
Yeah.
Looking down on the court.
Yeah.
You've been in corners for hundreds of fights. You know sometimes you're in a tight arena, it's tight, there's people. How is a judge watching that whole fight looking up like this? And
That's
being
a very valid point.
and being able
That's a
to
very
be
valid
objective,
point.
right? Now
He's not going to see everything. That's
No.
why they have three of them.
Well, they have three of them, but if we had three people up looking down, does it change it? I don't know.
It might.
I don't know. Some people say, you're crazy, you can't do that. Why? What do you mean you can't do that? Why wouldn't you do it?
You can try it.
You can do whatever you
anything
want. Well, you know what? We went to where we were going to give the fighters the score after each round. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it. I remember that would happen to Marlon Starling and Johnny
Yes.
Bumpus.
I don't like it either.
Because what Lou Duva did back then when Starling would always win the later rounds. I think Marlon was more of a slow starter.
Yeah.
And Lou Duva, as brilliant as he was, he knew Johnny Bumpus was ahead at that time. So he had the fight stopped, and they went to the cards, and Johnny Bumpus got it.
Yeah. I don't like that either.
I hate it.
I
hate it.
don't like that either. So we got a couple of things coming up. You know, you're a member of the Connecticut Hall of Fame as a trainer.
Yeah.
We have November 2nd also at Mohegan.
Yeah.
We have the Hall of Fame dinner. You want to tell us a little bit about that? I know you're on the board.
It's going to be a great show. We got Evander Holyfield coming in, actually.
I saw the announcement of that.
Yeah, he's coming in. We got a great class going in.
You got your stablemate,
Hector Rosario.
Hector Rosario. Hey, Hector.
My boy.
Congratulations, Hector, man. Well deserved. You know, and that's another story too. You know, you talk about
He's put his time in.
yeah, but you
He's
put
his time in.
guys like, come on. We watch social media today, and you watch guys out there. You guys are just doing it. And a guy like you, a guy like Hector, Miguel, they're just training for the love of the game.
Yes,
You
definitely.
train, you know. So
We don't get paid, that's for sure.
oh no.
We don't get nothing. Not until our pros fight.
And listen, by the time that happens, sometimes we're so deep because we're helping, you know, and that's just the way we are. But look, I'm like you. I love it. I don't. You know what? Sometimes I think if it's nice to get paid. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
But I think that changes your passion sometimes when you're just looking at the dollar sign.
It's a very good point. You know, I never really thought of that, Dave.
You know what I mean?
That's a very
Because
good
you know,
point.
look, I don't coach full time. I'm there full time, but I have a full time job because,
Right.
you know, I'd probably be living in a box if I was dependent coaching. But you know what? It is I'm happy when I go to the gym.
I love it.
You know, it's like
I get aggravated at times, but I do love it.
Yeah, of course. We all get aggravated. You're getting aggravated at guys because you know of people, what their ability is or whatever the case may be. Don't come in and half-ass it.
Right.
Don't come in and half-ass it, because what I tell kids and people coming into the gym, right, and you've been around a lot of different gyms. I've been in gyms that we don't have. Like you said, Cade Taylor just donated equipment to you guys.
Yep.
And you guys had decent equipment and a nice gym already.
Yep.
And I'm sure you were in gyms where
Horrible.
bags were taped up. I mean, myself too.
The canvas is all taped up.
Canvas is taped up. You know, where you're taping shoes, gloves, whatever it is,
Yep.
you know, trying to piece it together. So I tell these kids, I said, look, you're in the Taj Mahal, man. If you can't do it here, you can't do it anywhere, because you got more opportunity, more things, more
Absolutely.
equipment than to do, you know,
Absolutely.
to be successful in this sport. So, you know, I don't think people realize that, like, you know, we're there, like you said, not getting paid or whatever, and where our frustration comes, it's like, listen, you want to be a champion, you want to be something, it's there for you, but it's up to you.
I don't like the kids that come. We open up at 5.
Yeah.
And nothing pisses me off more than when a kid comes walking in at we close at 7:30. Comes walking in at 6:30, 6:15.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you, fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
You know, we're giving you our time,
Yeah.
and you're going to walk in like you give a shit.
Yeah. Well, you get the ones too. What should I do?
Yeah.
Well, there's a sign of what everybody. We have a sign in our gym, right? So you know, yeah, we break it down. You need to run. You need to jump rope. You need the shadow box, and then talk to the coach of what drills and stuff you're going to go into. Don't come over and say, "Are we going to do pads?"
I'm blessed to have Mikey for sure, Stevie, Miguel, and Hector.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah.
I mean, Hector's there. Hector's there every day, without fail. Miguel, sometimes he gets hung up at work and he can't make it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, he is there. No question. I've been very lucky, without a doubt.
Well, that shows with your team, with the people and the product that you're
and it's
producing.
even nice because I trained Miguel since he was like 9 or 10.
Yeah, but see that knows the system.
Then he comes up and he comes back to help me train kids.
Yeah.
That's nice.
No, it is.
That's a great feeling.
You guys got a great close knit team there.
When he just had a team, we had a team, or Miguel had a team that fought up in a show at Coventry High School several months back, and Miguel had four guys, and all 4 guys won.
Right.
And I was talking to him, Miguel, and I said, "Isn't it a great feeling?" And he goes, "Yeah. Now I know how you always felt."
Yeah.
I said, "Dude, I used to bring 6, 7 fighters to a fight and hope 4 won or
Right.
3 won. You went 4 for 4."
Yeah, you go 4 for 4, and then
I said, "Come on," and they all did well.
it gets contagious. They see one win.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's good preparation. Now it's like it gets contagious with these kids, and to see especially, that's the one thing about amateur level, not just pros. When you see, because every kid's not going to be a pro.
Right.
We know that, right?
Right.
Some kids might, but to see a kid, one, get his first amateur win,
Yeah, that's a nice feeling.
and I tell people, it's like even pros, I'm like, listen, you got one win. You can turn around and tell your kids, I got one win. You went in the ring.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like, I got some young kids. I said,
Takes
look,
a lot of balls who could do that.
yeah, I got a couple of young kids, and they're not very talented kids, but they come, their parents bring them, right? Whatever it is. And they've progressed. And I said, listen, dude, you're hitting the speed bag. You come in here for 45 minutes. You do all your work. What are your friends doing?
Yeah.
They're not doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I said, because if you think hitting a speed bag or doing rounds or sparring a little bit is easy, it's not. So you
Miguel got this little kid, Cam, like I was telling you earlier.
Yeah.
He went won the regionals. He went out to the nationals and he lost. I said, "Miguel, you got your first regional champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got to be proud of that, man."
Yeah, of
He
course.
goes, "Oh yeah, of course I am. Of course I am." So he gets it. He gets it. Now he wants to get more regionals, more nationals.
Yeah.
So now, like you said, you know, the bug bit him.
Yeah.
And now I think he wants to really, really train. I mean, he's already a good trainer, but he's starting to step it up a little bit more.
Well, you know as well as anybody else, and look, that experience, once you start going out into tournaments and you see what's around the country.
Oh, it's crazy.
Judging, everything plays into, you know, you could have a kid fight a great fight in a national tournament, come up short. It might not be his fault.
No, right.
Might not be his fault, you know, but you take the kid here and you bring him out and you say, okay, well, there's kids from Texas, wherever, Detroit, Chicago, Philly. Those kids can fight. Cali.
Mm-hmm.
You hanging with the best now.
Absolutely.
Now you come back into your little small pond.
Yep.
Now you start running the table off.
Yep.
But we're going to kind of finish up here, Paul. So October 23rd, where's Mikey's fight?
Madison Square Garden Theater.
Hulu Theater. He's the undercard of who? Because
It's an IBF female lightweight world title fight.
okay. And then Stevie Coleman is November 2nd.
November 2nd at Mohegan.
Yep, CES card. So we're going to look forward to see both of them, but I'm going to see you before then because I want to come up and visit you guys. But
Always welcome.
we're gonna play out like this for you right now, and I know because we laughed about this. We're gonna give you the foxhole thing, all right? We're gonna give you.
What's a foxhole?
Well, that's a foxhole, right? That's a foxhole. I'm gonna give cue cards to the millennials. The millennials. Hopefully, they never got to find out what a foxhole is. You know. So who's your?
When
guy?
I was watching that interview and she said, "What's a foxhole?" I was sitting out in the green room and I'm going, "You got to be kidding me!"
Yeah, but that's a millennial thing,
I know.
right?
I know.
I mean, but who's your?
My three.
No, foxhole. You get one. Next one, you get three. Dinner. Foxhole. Who's going in with you? You got one person, man.
I would have to say Earl Everett. He's the one that started me off with this.
Yeah.
Without him, I wouldn't have a gym. I wouldn't have the passion I have now for boxing. Earl Everett's the one that started me out.
Awesome.
Brad Dard, the doctor, is the one keeping it going.
Yeah. Shout out to those guys. Now, your three dinner guests who are, they could be dead, alive, whatever. You want to have dinner, sit down and have a conversation with people over dinner.
They're all dead.
All right.
It's easy. It's an easy question. I was waiting for this question.
Yeah.
First one would be Earl Everett again. I wanted to ask him if he was proud of me keeping what we started going.
Yep.
Because he's the one that started PAL, and I joined him.
Yeah.
And he made me run it, and then unfortunately he passed away 4 years later.
He set the playbook in motion.
Yes. And then it would be my father. Same question. Is he proud of what I've done?
Yeah.
And then it would be Johnny Duke. Johnny Duke was...
CT legend.
He was an inspiration for me when I first started doing this, before I met Earl. A real quick funny story about Johnny Duke. A buddy of mine knew him, or a buddy of mine's father knew him. And he knew I wanted to start a gym. So I called Johnny Duke. And I says, Mr. Duke, you don't know who I am. Paul Cichon from East Hartford. I says, I want to start a gym. No, at first I said I had a fighter that he might want. So he came to my house, and my girlfriend at the time was there, and she goes, you don't have a fighter. I said, I know. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it.
You're the fighter now.
Yeah, I did. I had a tape of my workouts outside of my garage hitting the bag.
Yeah.
So I put the tape in. And Johnny Duke, I got him something to drink, and he's sitting in the chair. And I go, now watch this, Duke. I said, this kid's pretty decent. Yeah. So he's looking, and he looks up at me, and he looks at the TV, and he looks up at me again, and he goes, the fuck, that's you. I said, Duke, I'm sorry. I wanted to get you over here. I want to start a gym, and you were the one that I could, ask to help out. Yeah. He helped me out as much as he could. It didn't work out at that time, but when Earl Everett started the Manchester PAL, I went over to see him, and I just got into a bad motorcycle accident. I broke my back and shattered my foot and ankle. So I show up to Earl. He had this big gathering because he was opening the gym. And he looks at me, and I'm hobbling around. I got a big back brace on. And he looks at me, and he goes, can I help you? I said, yeah, I'm here to help you coach the fighter. Yeah. And I got the crutches, and I got the big steel brace on. And he goes, what the fuck good are you to me? And I said, when I get all this off, I'm gonna show you. He goes, all right, great. And when I did, I came back maybe 6 weeks later.
The rest is
And
history.
the rest is history.
Awesome.
But those three, Duke,
Awesome.
my dad,
Yeah, and you had
And Earl.
validation with him, so you already thought about it. That's good.
Yeah.
Now we need other people to think like that too to give the answer. So, once again, Paul Cichon, Manchester ROCS. Look out for his two fighters fighting. Mike Con Williams, October 23rd at the Garden, the Hulu Theater. Stevie Coleman, November 2nd. Paul, I appreciate you coming on.
thank you. Thank you.
Great
Appreciate
to
it.
chop it up. Also, November 2nd, Hall of Fame dinner, Connecticut Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
Shout out to our buddy Hector Rosario. I know it's a lot of people going in. I saw Frank Lombardi. I saw
Frank
Louis
Lombardi,
Rosa.
yeah. Louis Rosa Jr., that's
Louis
going to be
Rosa
awesome.
Jr. Amongst others going
Yeah.
in there. So we don't want to disrespect.
George Phillips.
Yep. We got Evander Holyfield coming in.
Yes.
So
I've met him a couple of times.
it should be a great day there. Come out and support, and we'll see you again on Coach's Corner. Train hard, train smart, and till the next round.
I'm Coach Dave. Welcome back to Coach's Corner.
Come on.